after the veneer jewellery, I've been playing about with different ideas, and I've kind of caught on the idea of doing something like a bike chain with kind of the interlocking loops. So I've put together 10 layers of I think this is pine veneer. Only the kind of the two either end are actually solid sheets. The rest are kind of made up of bits and pieces. So that's about 10 layers worth, which is about 8mm, which is what, 2/3 of an inch or 1/3 of an inch. So that should be about right for a tester, I think. And I've worked out a design or shape for the links, which is kind of a penny with a slight overlap in the middle. So I think that's going to be about right, but I don't know, hence doing one of these before I try something else. So first things first, I've got to drill some holes. Okay, so I've got my little board on here. It's just an old wooden cutting board with some bits of 1x1 just stuck on with Gorilla Glue, which works just as well as a surface here. I've got a gap here into which I can put my piece of wood and the world's oldest drill. This is a 3.5 bit, and I've got a 3mm dowel to put in here. Oh, I think I've gone through. Okay, so I've drilled all my holes in here, and I've got my spiral blade in the machine. So now I'm going to work my way around each of these. I've got my SSS bandana on. At some point I'll buy myself a proper mask, but this seems to work just as well. So, here goes. Okay, one down, 7 to go. I'm going to stick them in a mug and a cup as I work, so that they're out of the way. Okay, so having cut these pieces, I'm now in the process of sanding, and I've got a little bit lazy with the cutting here, and in no way does that resemble what I was supposed to be cutting, but never mind. So I'm just zipping over on some 40 grit just to kind of tidy up the edges as much as possible. But as with most plywood, this block is quite dense. It's got a fabulous pattern to it, but it makes it quite difficult to sand. So future reference, stick to the lines when you're cutting. It means you've got less sanding to do. Right, so I've got my 8 pieces sanded up. Now the idea is to hinge them like a bike chain, but the 3.5mm dowel doesn't fit into the hole I drilled, which is aggravating. And the only other thing I've got that's close is a bamboo skewer, which has got to be closer to 2.5mm, and that's too loose. So somehow I've got to work out a way to get these in without them going all over the place. So what I'm going to do is put down some tape, actually masking tape, thank you for that. On the table, like that, and put 3 linking because I've got enough to do 3. And I'm going to grab a pair of pliers just to cut this into about 1.5 inches. I'm not too concerned about the size of these. 3, 4 of those. Then take a wee bit of glue, very wee bit because I'm running very low. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this tape over so they're actually stuck to it rather than sitting on top. That's going to be easier to keep them stable, I think. Right, so I'll take off any two bits that have come off and coat the bottom in glue and then stick it in a hole. Now, hopefully this glue will stick the bamboo to the wood. Okay, so my pegs have dried and I've smoothed around and sanded as much as possible. This kind of multiply is very, very strong. It doesn't sand very easily, so must do better in the cutting. Right, so I've test fit this a couple of times and kind of finessed everything, because anytime you've got two bits of wood that meet, the edge must be perfect, otherwise it's not going to work. So I'll string this on here. And this one. So that joint now works quite nicely. There's a little bit of rub there, but it's not going to cause too many issues. I made something similar to this in school. I made a crocodile with kind of jointed pieces that were more like a finger joint that way rather than this. But this I could make toys like this, possibly. Something to think about. So I'm now going to glue in the pegs on the top. Come on. Need to get more glue. Right, so I'll start with the middle one and fairly generously peg the middle. Or glue the middle even, sorry. And now I'll try and get this on without oozing glue everywhere. Oh, that looks like it's gone in okay. Right, that done. And what I'm going to do at the top here is I'm just going to cover the top with glue as well, in the hopes that that will help everything to stick. Do this one. And this one. Glue. And then glue top. So yeah, that's my prototype made. It's got all the right flexibility. It's basically the same as a bike chain anyway, but these edges have to be exactly perfect for it to work. So I don't know if I'm up to doing this as a bracelet. Obviously not this size, it's going to have to be maybe a third this size. So I was going to show you the process of making a bracelet, but I don't think I'm going to take this that far. Not yet. I'm aware of my failings. I still need a lot more practice on the scroll saw. So I'm going to take it as that, I'm going to wait for this to dry and then give it a quick brush over with some wax finish. And it's a project for the future. I understand my limitations, and I'll do only what I can. So, see you next week for chocolate cake, I believe.